Hey guys, 681 Shadow. Welcome to my ReZero Arc 3 Interlude 3 Part 3 web novel reading. And once again, if you guys are not caught up with this yet, and if you want to read the web novel even further than where I am, you could do it either one of two ways. Either watching my web novel reactions prior to this one, and the playlist of that will be in the description down below, or you can go directly to the website that I am on, which I will also leave in the description below for you guys to check out as well. So last time we left off, Subaru was being led by Fellis and Krush to the meeting room where Emilia and Wilhelm were waiting, and they're going to be discussing something. We don't really know what exactly that is, but all we know is that everyone's there. Subaru's going through a bunch of mental pain because of what happened with Rem, and apparently everyone wants something different from this meeting. So we will see what this will entail. So we can begin. After the battle with the White Whale, on their way back to the capital, Rem, Krush, and the punitive expedition, bringing with them wounded soldiers and the the whale's severed head, were ambushed by two Sin archbishops. Half of the expedition perished. The demi-human mercenaries accompanying them retreated immediately and avoided annihilation. When the vice captain Hetero brought the capital's knights back to the scene, and the Sin archbishops were already gone yon, only our knights' bodies, and people were like me, right? Krush furrowed her brows at Fellis' last words, biting her lip. With a dejected expression, she must have felt like it was all her fault. To her, the Krush in Fellis' story might as well be referring to another person, because my memory was erased by a Sin archbishop? Probably Nyan. I've attended to other patients with the same condition as Krush-sama. Their memories are completely gone. There's nothing Fellis' healing magic can do, Nyan. Even now Fellis has no idea what the cause is. Sin archbishop, gluttony. This authority, it must be him. Wilhelm noticed gravely, and with a stern gaze he looked at Krush. But, seeing Krush shrivel under his gaze, Wilhelm closed his eyes in apology. I was inconsiderate of Krush-sama's condition, and frightened you. I am deeply sorry. I still have much to learn. No, I should apologize for being such a useless master, even though I am trying my hardest to remember everything about Wilhelm-sama. Hearing Krush call him Wilhelm-sama, the old swordsman cringed. It's cringeworthy. Seeing his sworn master suffering so, the guilt and shame of having failed to protect her brought pain onto Wilhelm's face. Glancing towards Subaru, who at this moment must be carrying the very same feeling in his heart, Wilhelm seemed to understand him. On the other hand, Fellis, whose attitude towards Krush would not waver in spite of everything, seemed to disregard Subaru's feelings completely. Sin Archbishop Sloth has been dealt with, and Nyan there's gluttony and greed. There's a limit to what can be done, Nyan. Something so rare as two Sin Archbishops moving together. I'd be surprised if Emilia-sama's rise had nothing to do with it. Me? Her name was suddenly mentioned. Emilia looked at Fellis with a surprised expression. Nodding to her, Fellis continued. The witches' cult would never tolerate the existence of a half-elf such as Emilia-sama. They're usually quiet and creep in the shadows. But now they're all suddenly making such a ruckus. There's obviously a connection here. Listening to Fellis' speculations, Subaru crossed his arms and pondered on a conversation they had before. The night before the battle with the White Whale, when Subaru discussed with Fellis and Krush the possibility of a witch cultist attack, they had accepted his suspicions readily. That means there must have been precedence. But, even though I don't know much about the witch's cult, the witch refers to the Witch of Envy, right? Raising her hand nervously, Emilia uttered the entirely unexpected question. Subaru doubted his hearing. Wilhelm and Fellis' expressions froze. The only person who weren't astonished by these words were Krush and Emilia herself. Seeing their reactions, Emilia became even more nervous. Sorry, I can tell from your reactions that that's something I should know. Really, really should. But, Emilia-tan, you know about the witch. You were the one who told me. The first time they met, she had given him the name Satala, and then after he died, he tried to call her by that name again. His memory of her anger meant that she knew the name was forbidden. But Emilia shook her head at Subaru's word. Near the forest where I lived, there was a small village. They hated me because of my likeness to the Witch of Envy. So I know how the witch is regarded in the word, but things like the witch cult, how Emilia-sama lived in the past, let's just put that aside for Nyan. But to say that you don't even know about the witch's cult at this point is just too outrageous, Nyan. Shoulders raised as if mocking, Velus's hands flung up with a sigh. Seeing this attitude from Velus, Subaru's anger rose, and staring into Velus's eyes, he retorted, "How can you say this? To admit you don't know something? Do you realize how much courage that takes? To ask what is necessary, what is wrong with that?" Subaru-kun is really persuasive, Nyan. You really are master and servant, Nyan. Velus relentlessly mocking Subaru's unhidden displeasure. Subaru was about to stand up in anger, but Velus, I cannot overlook what you just said. Apologize at once. The moment before Subaru's strength injected into his legs, the words of reproach rang out in the room. In her dark blue evening dress, up to now frail and timid, she all of a sudden transformed, majestic and fierce. Her gaze was that of a knight. As Natsuki Subaru-sama said, to ask what you do not know is nothing deserving of mockery. Even you do not have the right. Understand? Understood, Krush-sama. Her forceful words subsiding. Krush seemed to return to the soft-spoken girl of a moment before, but as if having heard something from the awe-inspiring Krush of the past, from this now frail and feminine girl. Subaru could not hold in his astonishment. Velus, too, could not contain the shock within his eyes. So, because of that experience, Krush is changing, and because her memories were erased, so she's more feminine than the somewhat masculine girl that she was. Emilia-sama, please accept my apology for my rudeness. Subaru-kun, too. No, it's fine. Let's talk about the witch's cult now. Emilia-tan wants to hear it, and let's be honest, I don't know the details either. Seeing Subaru back down, half getting up, Velus lightheartedly replied with an "Understood, Nyan." A finger lightly touched the lower lip. Velus shook around in the short dress. Firstly, as Emilia-sama said, the witch cult is an organization that worships the Witch of Envy. Ever since the unstoppable rise of the witch 400 years ago, these fanatics have been active. To the Knight's order, all affiliates of the organization are to be killed on sight. Killed on sight? To carry out such extreme orders? How could they? The witch cultists will not hesitate to burn a village or an entire city just to accomplish their goals. In fact, the village near Lord Rosewell's mansion came close to falling victim of these cultists, and one of the Sin archbishops that took part in the ambush had once managed to single-handedly capture a city in the empire of Wallachia in the south. Emilia kept on blinking her eyes, as if unable to take in these facts. Subaru understands her reaction, because the horrors of the witch's cult had already been carved deep into his heart. He now uses Beltogese as the standard unit of measurement for insanity. That's a pretty big unit to use for the standards for insanity. I'm just gonna point that out because that guy is absolutely insane. But now to continue. But in terms of strength, greed sounds like something on a completely different level than Beltogese. Wait, I'm getting sidetracked, Nyan. The witch cult Sin archbishops, each named after one of the 6 sins other than envy, are the executives of the organization. 6 witches were sloth, greed, gluttony, lust, wrath, and pride, right? Yes, and especially well known among them are sloth and greed. Greed, as previously mentioned, is known for annihilating entire cities. Sloth, on the other hand, seemed to be behind every little disturbance caused by the witch's cult, but sloth had already been beautifully eliminated by our punitive expedition Nyan, right, Subaru-kun? Yes, Sloth is dead. I saw him disintegrate with my own eyes. There's no mistaking it. Subaru confirmed Velus's words, his mind playing back the final moments of the abominable Beltogese. Screaming Subaru's name full of hatred, even long after, the sound would not leave his not leave his ears. Like a curse, it kept on howling. Was that the reason behind Subaru's cruel fate? There are now 5 remaining Sin archbishops. 2 of them were responsible for the ambush on Krush-sama. Their movements are always mysterious, and so even after 400 years, the efforts to eradicate them barely made any progress. As to their objective, it is said that they want to revive the Witch of Envy. revive the witch? Unable to disregard these words, Subaru jumped up, tipping over his chair. Noticing this gave the girls a fright, Subaru waved his hands up and down. To revive her? Is that even possible? The witch has been dead for 400 years, right? To make something like that come back to life. Subaru don't know. The Witch of Envy is not dead. Her life is still linked to the edge of this world, unfortunately. To the agitated Subaru, Wilhelm quietly revealed this fact. Speechless, Subaru looked to Wilhelm, and met his eyes, serious and severe. Near the Great Fall, there is a sealing stone temple. The witch is there, her indestructible existence sealed inside. For even with the power of the dragon and sword saint combined, she cannot be destroyed. Sealed. I might have heard that before, but to revive her, why don't they just destroy the seal? Where did Subaru hear that before? But more importantly is the question. If the witch was sealed, they merely need to break the seal, but instead, every time a half-elf appears, they wreak havoc in the world with senseless murder and destruction. Just what is the witch cult trying to do? But at this question, Wilhelm shook his head. To approach the temple is almost impossible. First, there is very little mana near the Great Fall under those circumstances. No one can withstand the witch's scent. Secondly, they cannot bypass the elder sages. Elder sages? The elder sage Shala and the first generation sword saint and the dragon Borukanika were the heroes who sealed the Witch of Envy, Neon. Then they retired to the Pleiades watchtower near the Great Fall, but retired in name only. Even now, they keep their watch for those who would revive the witch. That is, as the story goes. They must be quite old. 400 years is quite a long breath, even for sages. But that is beside the point. Subaru decided to set that aside so fellows could continue. Well, now we know why the witch can't be unsealed, but then how do they revive her? Even if you ask Neon, Fellows isn't a witch cultist and doesn't know either. All we can do is torture a witch cultist and have them spit it out, Neon. Brushing off Subaru's question, Fellows took on an I give up expression. Even though Subaru wasn't satisfied, there was no point in pursuing the question further. In any case, Emilia nodded. So that's why I'm treated like this? But why didn't Puck... Did Puck say something just now? There's a mountain of things I need to ask him. Puck didn't respond, even though he seems to have materialized. I only know he's nearby. Seeing Amelia shriveling in her seat, it did not occur to Subaru to say, there. In fact, to talk to Puck is something he absolutely must do. Besides, there's no way to predict where or when Sin Archbishop Greed will appear. Puck's input will also be crucial. That's about all there is to say about the Witch's Cult, Neon. So on top of that, let's move the discussion to the future. The future? Turning to Subaru with a clap, Phallus, with a jubilant smile, said, "To put it simply, this alliance, let's dissolve it, Neon." Okay, so that's the end of that chapter, and they want to dissolve the alliance between Krush and Amelia, that's random. It's actually really random, and probably would not be good for Subaru and Amelia, because the alliance has been the source of all their success so far, in terms of like the White Whale and the Witch's Cult, and now there's more threats of the Witch's Cult. So I think that's something that they need. But that was an interesting chapter with all of the different interactions and them trying to talk about the Witch's Cult. But let me know what you guys thought about this chapter in the comment section below. Thank you all for watching. Remember to rate, comment, subscribe, and share this video, and I will see you all next time.